I've been having a hard time finding time to film recently, and I finally got time to film, and there's a rainstorm going on, so there's bad natural lighting, and I'm sick, so you know what, it just is what it is. We gotta film this video today. So hi everyone, my name is Shauna in case you don't know, and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be doing my February reading wrap-up. I wanted to do a wrap-up for each month of this year, and it is now time for February's. February was one of the longest yet shortest lives of my month. Did I just say lives of my month? I can't think clearly, okay? I'm sick, I have a head cold, my whole head's off. February was one of the longest yet shortest months of my life. There, I said it right. It felt like it went by really fast, but at the same time it felt like it went by really slow, and I don't really know how to explain it, and it just is what it is. You know, I read a couple large books this month, so I didn't really read a ton of books number-wise. But I really enjoyed most of the books I read this month, so it was a successful reading month despite my numbers not being like super duper high. I mean, it's sort of high. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I literally feel like I'm gonna puke because of this cold. It is not fun. Come on, Sprite, do your magic, make me feel better. So the first book that I finished this month, boom! Breaking Dawn by Stephanie Meyer, the sort of final book in the Twilight series. It's not the most recent one to come out, but it's like the final one if you're talking numerical order. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. I had more issues with this one than what I had with the previous books, but I still did really enjoy it. The like pedophilia stuff gets really bad in here. It's enjoyable, but like it's very flawed, and the characters felt like different characters, and like I hate it, but I love it, and so I'm very torn on it. And it's like the longest one in the series, I think, or maybe it's just this weird mass market paperback edition that makes it very long. I would say that this series is one of my favorite series, and I do recommend reading it. However, just be like prepared for like pedophilia / unnecessary age gaps that are forced on the characters. Next book that I read this month was another 4-star read, and that was Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I really should stop throwing around my books. Anyways, this was another book with a unnecessary inappropriate age gap that I was like, are you serious? And if it weren't for that age gap, I would have actually enjoyed this book more. I did really enjoy this book though. I gave it 4 stars, just like the age gap thing really like irked me and irritated me, and so I had to drop a star for this because it was hindering from my enjoyment of the book, and my ratings are based on enjoyment level. Red Queen is the start of this series where the society is split up between red bloods and silver bloods. If you're silver blood, you have like magical powers, you're like the elites, you're like royalty, and then reds are like the common peasants and stuff. And this one girl who's a red gets like entangled in with the world of silvers and rebellion. It's really good. It's like Selection meets X-Men meets Hunger Games, but at the same time so unique that it can't even be compared super well to other books. It's just really good. Read it if you can overlook the age gap thing. And it's not like that big of an age gap, just like the author went out of her way to clarify that character is 17 and that the one that she's most romantically involved with is 19. So it's not that bad, but like why did the author go out of her way to say the character's ages when she could have just like not said it? And it would have been perfectly fine. Can young adult books please stop having characters that are a minor and an adult be together? So I make them the same age or something, you know? And then I read another long book that is now one of my favorite books of all time, and that is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. This book is phenomenal. I highly recommend this one to everyone. Like if you're a history buff fan, you like it. If you like King Arthur, you'll like it. If you like fantasy, you like it. You like contemporary, you like it. You like romance, you like it. Like, it's so good. Please everyone go read it right now. So Legendborn is about this girl whose mother dies, and she goes off to early college for like sort of a new start. So she's at this like college, she's in this new environment, and suddenly she's starting to doubt what happened about her mother's death because there's some very mysterious things that are going on at the school, and she gets entangled in this world of like secret societies. There is sort of a love triangle in here, but like she doesn't really get romantically involved with the second love interest, so that's probably going to happen in the second book. But it is a pretty good love triangle as far as love triangles go. Like sometimes love triangles border on cheating, but this one doesn't at all. I love this book so much. It's so good. I could talk about this book for days because I love it so much. I want everyone to read this. Go read it. Go read it. Okay? It's phenomenal. Second book is coming out later this year. Next up is Attack on Titan Volume 13. I really enjoyed Volume 13. It feels like the story is sort of like evolving away from the whole Titan conflict, and I want them to like bring the Titan conflict back in there, and now it's sort of like people rebelling against royalty a little bit. And I mean, that conflict gets even more pronounced in the next book, but I really enjoyed this one, and I gave this one 4 stars. I've yet to give an Attack on Titan volume less than 3 stars. So like it's a really good series that everyone should read, just like some volumes are not as interesting as others. The thing with like mangas is that there's different story arcs if a book gets like super long, and some story arcs won't interest you as much as others, but like you should keep pushing through if the original story interests you, because it will eventually get around to the original story. And next one I read was another manga, but this one I read as an ebook, and this was Manga Classics: The Count of Monte Cristo. I'm really glad that I read this one as a manga because I found out after the fact that the original book is over 1,200 pages. And it's a classic, so that sounds like torture to me. Anyways, I gave this one 4 stars. I would say that like the story was really interesting. I think if I were to have read the original format, I would have rated it much lower because I generally don't get along with classics. But this Manga Classic series is like really fun and interesting because it basically like speeds up the pace of these classic books, and there's like pretty drawings, and it's just amazing. The Count of Monte Cristo is hard to summarize what happened, but I'm gonna try my best here. There's like a ton of characters, so if you're gonna read it, you really gotta pay attention to all of these characters and how they connect to each other. So the Count of Monte Cristo is about this guy, and he is about to get married. He's about to have like all the happiness in the world, have like pure happiness. He feels so lucky, and all of a sudden there's these 3 guys that double cross him and get him dumped in jail. Eventually he escapes from jail and he enacts this big like revenge scheme where he wants to get back with these 3 guys, but he doesn't want to just kill them, and he doesn't want to just dump them in jail. Like, he wants to do something really intense and dramatic. So it's a very interesting story with actually a really interesting plotline. I would say that there was some issues with it being adapted into the manga format. However, I do recommend this one, especially if the story sounds interesting to you, and especially if you want to know what happens in the Count of Monte Cristo but you don't want to read the 1,200 page book like I did. And the final book that I read this month was another manga, and that was Attack on Titan Volume 14. This one was really fun. Like, it was very intense and very like graphic because there's like torture and a lot of like violence from human to human on here, as opposed to others in the series where there's violence between these like man-eating titans and humans. This is like violence between human on human, and then the lines started to get blurred between like good and bad, so that was really interesting and fun. I really recommend this series. As I've said, I really hope I can finish this series this year, but I don't know. There's like 30 some volumes in this series and I'm not rich, so I have to like try and find them used for cheap. And yeah, I want to finish the series, just it's really expensive to buy all the books in a 30+ book series, and this is a manga, so I read each one in one night, and I don't know, it's just like a lot of money, and I should stop complaining. And then let's talk about the book that I started reading that I have not finished yet, that I will finish in March. Now, if I DNF'd books, I would DNF this book, which is already telling you a lot about this book. This book is called The Bones of Ruin. This is by Sarah Raleigh. So this book has a writing style that I'm not fond of, and it's very dull and slow. It reads as if it's a mix between a dating sim and a classic novel, which is a very weird combination. I'm fully aware of that, but the writing style makes it seem like a classic style of writing that you'd have to like analyze for school. But then there's like these romantic aspects with these boys, and like they're just all of a sudden clamoring over this girl, and it feels like a dating sim. And in case you don't know what a dating sim is, there's like these things called dating simulators, and I've played dating simulators. They're like my guilty pleasure, and they're just like fun, you know. But when you have a really slow book and you're expecting like a well fleshed out novel, and you get the mix between like a boring classic and a dating sim, it just isn't what I wanted or expected, and it's confusing me. Especially, it will confuse you even more once I tell you what this book's about, because this book makes it seem like it would just be written differently, I guess. So this book is about this girl who can't die, and she is working at the circus, and she is a, whatchamacallit, tightrope dancer. I almost said trapeze. Trapeze is the thing you swing from, right? So she's a tightrope dancer. She doesn't know why she can't die. She doesn't know anything about these like powers that she has, but there's a secret society that is trying to get a hold of her, specifically this one guy, and she gets entangled in this secret world, and she's trying to figure out who she is in this whole process. I mean, very interesting premise, and it's like a historical fiction, so it's taking place in Europe, specifically the United Kingdom or England, I believe, which are technically the same thing, right? Hopefully, I don't know. And yeah, it just isn't working for me, and I am currently on page 132, and it's a pretty long book. I'll finish it, I will, and I'm hoping that somehow it will surprise me and get better, But as of right now, it's just not working for me, you know? Anyways, it's getting darker, my screen is getting grainy, I should probably go. So those are all the books that I read in February. Hopefully when I talk to all of you next, I'll be feeling better. But I don't know, maybe I'll still be sick. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to me. If you haven't already, all my other social media will be linked down in the description below. If you'd like to hear any more of my elaborated thoughts on any of these books, all my reviews are up on Goodreads. Pretty easy to find, just click on my profile, scroll down, find my reviews, you know. I upload videos twice a week, so my next video will be uploaded this Friday. As I said, hopefully I'll be feeling better by then. Hopefully I won't be sick. Hopefully it won't be stuffy. Hopefully I'll be like normal, you know. Anyways, I hope all of you are having a great start to your week, and I'll see all of you on Friday. Till next time, goodbye.